I'm Dr. Jonathan Reed. Do you need help, sir?
I think I'm fine. But what happened to my jailer? Be careful. He's as vicious as he is strong.
You don't have to worry about him anymore. What happened here?
I am Tadao Kimura. I was imprisoned by this lunatic for several days. I thought I was going to die here.
You're not going to die now, Mr. Kimura. If you hurry, you should be able to get home safely.
It seems that I owe you my life. You have all my gratitude, Dr. Reed, since it is the most precious thing I possess.
Goodbye, Mr. Kimura. Take care. Fresh water. As long as it's not holy water, I may find some use for it.
Best turn around if I steady, boys! We've got one. Leak spotted! Watch out, boys! Christ, he's dead! Look at it! Think. Snap it, leech! You'll pay for that! See them fancy clothes? This one's a top!
Good evening.
Good evening.
I'd like...
Wise choice, Doctor.
Hello, Jonathan.
Tense.
I'm sure it...
What can you tell me?
Oh, the legendary founder of the Ascalon Club. I'm afraid I cannot...
So you do know him?
All the Brotherhood knows about him is highly confidential. He is dangerously intimate with the royal family.
Are you afraid of him?
No, but...
What can you tell me?
A sad story, my dear friend. Tragic, in fact. The Brotherhood was betrayed by...
Why was it...
Not only did the Guard of Prewen hunt down and kill most...
Why...
Not only did the Guard of Prewen hunt down and kill most ancient vampires of England, they also destroyed or confiscated their possessions. Priceless knowledge was lost in just a few nights.
Tell me about...
The founders of the Guard of Prewen stole precious and unique documents and reports from the Brotherhood's library when they left. They used them to identify and locate their next targets.
Did you know that Lady Ashbury is...
Well, actually, yes.
Perhaps we could go to her next exhibition.
What a beautiful idea, Jonathan. Did you know she told me once she had been a model for famous painters?
I shall Done. Good evening.
Good evening. Wise choice, Doctor.
Good evening.
Good evening. Wise choice, Doctor.
See how it likes a bit of fire! Over there! There's one of them!
Good eve.
How is the sound?
When people...
I'd like to see...
Good evening.
You look ill. Well,
Thank you.
goodbye, Miss.
The Swanbrook... Cordial can be the answer to all your problems, as long as you have the money.
Good evening.
Wang,
What are you doing with your time?
I've decided to help.
That's very...
I've noticed that
giving out medicine.
I am a rich widow, Dr. Reed. My departed husband left me enough money to last.
Why don't you move?
I thought about it, I confess. To go back to the same empty home every day still hurts me a lot.
Why stay here?
I am a...
How?
My...
How do you... You should... Goodbye.
Come on, Barrett, you know the game. You pay for peace of mind.
Your prey is mine now! How dare you interfere with my hunt? Leech spotted! Watch out, boys! This is my territory! You're feeble! You cannot win this! Gotcha! Over there! There's one of them vermin!
Good evening, sir.
Leave me alone, I say.
It cannot be safe for a blind man to live here alone.
Well, a voice never lies, and yours clearly is the voice of a gentleman. All right, Doc.
What kind of gentleman pays visits to people at this late hour? Tell me, how do you see the world these days?
It's locked, all right.
Wandering in this part of town at night, you're either brave or a fool.
So what is the name?
I'm Dr. Jonathan Reed.
Dr. Reed? The eminent surgeon? My God, I'd never have expected a brilliant physician.
You flatter me, sir.
No, sir, I am flattered.
How is the sanitary?
I hear them hissing and scratching at my door every night. The sick made mad by the fever. But these walls are...
And what else have you learned about?
I know you assisted Professor Carrel in France, and that you invented a new blood transfusion method.
Yes. Those were frustrating, but...
Yes, the thrill of research and...
Does someone take care of...
My sister Loretta and I have our daily routine. Every morning and evening she comes by so we can talk and eat.
Do you not appreciate your sister?
Loretta is the best and worst thing that happened to me, and I believe she could say the same thing.
Where does your...
Well, let's just say...
What's so amusing?
I won't hide the truth from you. Loretta sells a fake miracle elixir to the sick.
Do you know Braille, Mr. Swanborough?
I'm no expert, but I learned it in my spare time, yes. Why?
I found a strange document entitled Cure for Blindness. It's written in Braille, so I've...
Really? Is that some kind of sick joke? Let me see.
Here it is.
This letter seems authentic. And it actually refers to an experimental cure for blindness. You have piqued my interest, Dr. Reed.
Could it be of any use to you?
No. This page is just a part of a larger diary. I'd be glad if you could find the other pages.
Goodbye.
Wandering in this part of town at night, you're either brave or a fool.
Best be moving on. Crush the liver! Find his head! We found him! Oh, Christ! You! Get back in the grave!
Oh, please, I don't have your money.
Come on, Barrett.
This district seems to be...
Steady, boys! We've got one of them! Careful, there's your leg, fucker!
believe I'm doing this. The Ascalon Club. The heart of British vampire society. Not quite as subtle as I expect. Good evening, miss.
Oh my god, no. Please, Mr. Vampire, don't kill me.
Wait, no.
Don't worry, Dr. Reed. I know you wouldn't harm me. Mother told me you were in this part of town and might drop by.
Your mother?
My name is Charlotte, sir. Charlotte Ashbury. My mother taught me long ago how to recognize the signs that betray a vampire.
I understand she also taught you how to tease and gently mock innocent young Ekons. It's a pleasure to meet you, Miss Charlotte. What do you think about this part of town?
I was raised here, and I suppose it feels like home. You grew up in this part of town too, did you not?
Yes, I was born
A small world, is it not? Did you ever imagine that my mother was your neighbor all that time?
You won't trick me twice, young lady. We both know Lady Ashbury never hunts or attacks prey at random.
Come on, Doctor. Don't tell me.
Is there something that's...
Too much selfishness and...
Even if that's partly true, may I remind you that many charitable institutions are financed by the...
I suppose you're right. But society must reform and renew itself, or we are all done for.
Tell me about your...
What do you want to know?
Who are your...
Elizabeth Ashbury is my real mother. She raised me and has taken care of me all my life.
Do you live with...
I still spend a lot...
How did you meet...
First, I was an...
Did you know she was a vampire when...
The correct word is Ekon, Doctor. And no, I had no idea why my mother only showed up at night.
What do you do?
You mean, what do I do?
Actually, yes. I ask the same question to everyone who dares to go outside at night, considering the...
Well, if you must know, I campaign for the right to vote for all women. Why should I wait to the age of 30 years when men can vote?
Are you a suffragette, then? Oh, you really are Elizabeth's girl. Without a doubt.
All adult women have the right to vote in the US, in New Zealand, and in Australia. But women here can't vote unless they...
No need to convince me, Miss Charlotte. I have shared your opinion for a long time. Even before...
Really? Oh.
How are the locals react?
People here can't wait for a wall to be built to isolate the West End from the rest of town. That's how progressive they are. If this happens, Emily and I will blow it up.
Explosives are very dangerous.
She is my best friend, and a suffragette too. She was supposed to campaign with me tonight, but hasn't...
Have you any reason?
Recently, Emily...
Let me guess.
Oh, that would be top-notch. I can tell you where she might have gone. You have my thanks, Dr. Reed.
What exactly?
Your name and profession, obviously.
Does it not scare?
Why should it? My mother is the most compassionate woman. Must I be wary of her, Dr. Reed?
Of course not. You have...
Good to know. And don't...
Your mother is not like any...
I believe she thinks the same...
Do you know why?
No, I don't. Each time I ask her that question, she smiles and says it's precisely because I...
Do you ever regret?
Of course not. Though I often wonder if she adopted others before me. If so...
Why do you still hope to become a vampire?
It's the immortal aspect of vampires that interests me. The world won't improve unless women take charge.
You're obviously a clever woman with a good education and a brilliant...
Is it not true of every high position? To change this world and make it a better place, one needs...
Your mother has refused...
Each time we argue, Mother expresses the same fear. She wants me to remain alive and full of joy, rather than become melancholy and immortal. She claims you can't have one without the other. It's pure selfishness.
It's your mother's choice.
I love my mother, and have accepted everything from her. Even that she named me Charlotte, when it was not.
Does it bother you?
No. Whoever I was when I was born.
Your mother has walked this earth for much longer than you or I. She is wise, and we should not ignore her advice when we disagree.
But why shouldn't I be allowed to forge my own experience? There can't be only one righteous way to deal with eternity.
Tell me, Charlotte, how do you plan to achieve eternal life, since you've obviously given it a lot of thought?
I won't give up. You have...
That's a disturbing answer, young lady. And the worst part of it is, I know...
There are less dangerous ways, Doctor. Instead of throwing myself under a horse like Emily Davison, I could just throw...
Stop playing this game at once, Charlotte. This is unworthy of you, of your mother, and of myself.
I'm sorry, Dr. Reed. Please forgive me. That was stupid.
Goodbye, Charlotte.
She's been quite busy these last few nights. I suspect you may see her before me.
It's locked, all right. Good evening.
I never judge a man by his title, but by his attitude. And you are not disturbing me at all. I am Calhoun Russell, and I welcome you.
Well, I must admit it's...
Welcome, Dr.
How is the situation?
Life is good and peaceful. We're lucky to live in such an era of progress and wonders.
Are you not concerned about the epidemic?
Oh, I'm sure the authorities would take the appropriate measure if the danger were that high.
I'm afraid the newspapers are seriously underestimating the situation. Things are critical, believe me.
Well, that's news then. But I can't believe that...
What can you tell me about this place?
I recently found the best steak and kidney pie in the city. I'd be glad to share the address if you want.
Finding a good restaurant? Is that really all that interests you?
Oh, I have many passions, but nothing brings me ecstasy like subtle and exquisite flavors from my teeth to my belly.
I must confess, I have...
Really? Well, I'm always happy to try new exotic meals. If you ever find an intriguing table, please.
Is it not a little too late to be...
On the contrary, it is the perfect hour. Believe me, my friend, it is always at night that you meet the most...
But what about...
Please, sir, this is London, England. We will prevail. And if a bomb must fall on my shop, then I'll be there to...
So you prefer...
Oh, I also enjoy a sunny day like everybody else. But the night always has a certain je ne sais quoi of its own.
Do you have any...
Not since my parents died.
Really? But...
I'm afraid the real hedonist has to be sometimes. I discovered ecstasy as a solitary pleasure, but it does not mean it...
London's lone...
I used that name in my early...
I may have a look at you. It's locked, all right. I may have a... Good evening, sir.
Come on, Johnny.
Clarence. Clarence Cross.
I almost didn't recognize you either.
When did you escape?
You know what's funny?
I know what you mean. I haven't had much time to think about the war either since my return.
Of course. With the epidemic, I bet you've been busy as well. Forgive me, Johnny. I didn't want to sound selfish.
What is this?
Well, I saw terrible things during the war.
How is your wife?
We've spent so much time away.
But you're alive. You returned in one piece and you have a family. How many soldiers can say the same?
Believe me, it's not quite that simple. Unlike you, I'm not the man I used to be.
Is everything all right at home? Surely Venus was relieved to see you return from France in one piece.
Have you forgot what people are like in this part of town, Johnny? Venus fears for our family reputation.
You... Hello?
Jonathan, is that you?
Thank you, Venus.
I was going to bed. I'll tell you what. Come back.
We meet again, Mr.
Dr. Reed.
We must both be nocturnal animals, you and I.
Breathing the cold...
How is...
I've heard rumors about...
May I ask you...
I was...
Why this sudden...
I was already feeling...
What can you
If you really want to know, I was locked...
And why...
That was the weirdest part.
Which start?
That's the whole point.
What did he say?
He constantly whined about the... What? I was focused so much...
Have you heard it?
I was not only...
At least now you're ready to...
You make it sound like you suffered.
Have you...
Over the years...
Those you grew up with.
Would you believe I was once a member of...
Can you change?
I've seen what an altruistic gesture can do. Nothing forced you to save me, Dr. Reed, but you did.
There is no need to thank me. Rescuing a London citizen should not be out of the ordinary.
You did not only rescue me, you fought for me. You put your life in danger to...
How will you cope if...
I don't know.
Tell me, Tadao.
I don't know.
Yes.
Stars are not just...
You're right.
Protection by the light...
Draco.
Memory's a strange thing. I can
Did he fake?
No. In his madness...
Goodbye. Good evening. Clarence.
I have to warn everybody.
Vampires?
I'm not mad, Jonathan.
Clarence, you've...
Thank you, Johnny.
It's all right.
The first time it was in Rouen. I saw an officer drink the blood of a soldier. I saw it...
Tell me what you...
They've always been here.
Have you shared...
No. But I've published my leaflets all across the city, hoping that someday someone will
What do you mean?
The Guard of Prewen.
Have you spoken with...
No. With the quarantine, it's almost impossible to leave the West End. But...
Are you...
Yes, Johnny.
Clarence, tell me...
I was enjoying my leave in Rouen.
That you were drunk.
Please don't insult me, John.
Did you ever see...
No.
You need some rest.
The equality between men and women.
It's locked.
Jonathan, my dear. Bring me my... reading.
Mother.
Jonathan!
I'm right here.
Yes, but the...
Mary.
I know she's gone. The...
Mother.
Not really.
What do you mean you get...
Of course not. When I go out, you're...
Have you returned to...
I never want to go back to that awful...
It was just a bad...
A nightmare, yes.
Do you need anything?
I just want you to stay.
I'll stay as long...
Just one thing. Stop staring at me like that. As much as I love you, it breaks my heart to look at those...
Are you working on it?
Not recently.
I recently met...
I'd be glad to...
She's not famous, and her name is...
The important thing is...
Why do you say Mary is
Why should it be? Are you not
But Mary really is dead.
Yes. And are you not dead too?
But I'm not dead.
Oh, it breaks my heart to have to tell you this. But of course you're dead, my darling boy. Just...
Goodbye.
Goodbye, son.
I remember Sunday walks. Hello again.
John...
Father seems to have let...
No, Johnny.
I remember now. He used to post me these riddles, as though they were sent by a mysterious games master.
Your father was always...
I was proud to...
The important thing is that you remember it now. I'll tell your father the next time I see him. He'll...
Could Father have conceived some sort of final game for me before he left?
I really can't say, Johnny. Perhaps you should talk with Avery about that. He... Goodbye, sir.
Good evening, Avery.
Mr. Jonathan? I can't...
I know, Avery.
Miss Reed expected you to return to assist with the funeral, right up until the last minute. Where have you been?
How is my mother?
Not well, I'm afraid, sir. Miss Reed is very fragile since the police brought her.
The police?
Miss Reed was found walking in the streets. She kept saying she had spoken with her son and daughter.
Has she received...
I'm taking care of...
Perhaps we could arrange a
I'm afraid Miss Reed is too frail for the moment.
What is the situation?
For a time,
Have you no relative?
Your father managed to guarantee my earnings as long as I take care of this house, sir. My sisters are dead, and
I'm sorry I could not be here.
Your mother was strong, sir. but your support would have been appreciated. Apart from the priest and I...
To be present at the funeral with you both was...
I would not dare to question your absence, Mr. Jonathan. All I can say is that we missed you a great...
I found an old letter written by my father and addressed to me. Do you know anything about it?
Your father wanted me to give you this letter for your 35th birthday, but you left for the war, and the letter remained in...
I realize now you knew my father better than I did. Do you know why he left, Avery? Did he have...
No, sir. Mr. Reed was not exactly forthcoming. Perhaps this letter will give you the...
Tell me the truth, Avery. Do you feel forced?
No, sir. I have nowhere else to go. And I promised your father I'd take care of his...
This house is dead, Avery.
If only you could have been here sooner or more often. Maybe this house would not be that empty. But you're here now.
You have served this family extremely well, Avery.
Then I will stay. All I ask is that you take care of my own funeral if I die before the end of the epidemic. No mass grave, please, sir.
Do you really think I don't take enough care of my mother, Avery?
Yes, I do.
You clearly have something more to...
I know you work hard to help the sick. But what will you do once the epidemic is over?
My home is here, and I have nowhere else to go. But this house will need some improvements if I...
That's good news. Whatever changes you have in mind, I'm sure we will find an arrangement.
Goodbye.
Of course.
Hello again.
Jonathan!
Tell me, Mother, how are you? All alone in this big house with only Avery to take care...
I'm sad most of the time. Sad...
I'm so sorry, Mother. It wasn't supposed...
What happened, John?
I lost my way.
You should have told me, Johnny.
Do you think Avery is right? Do you think I should take better care of you?
I don't blame you. But you abandoned me, son. A mother should not survive her children. It's unbearable to know you're not here anymore.
I know I have failed you since I returned. I even watched you bury Mary from a distance.
You don't have to apologize to me, Johnny. Do you think I did not notice how much you have changed?
Have I changed that?
You are still...
Goodbye.
Goodbye. Jonathan, my dear. Bring me
Good evening, Miss.
I am...
Miss, you don't...
No. It...
What happened?
The rats. The answer...
Miss Billow, please.
The voice in my head.
Do you feel compelled to obey?
Yes.
Tell me about...
Keep your mouth shut.
Tell me about yourself.
I'm hungry.
Don't you remember who you...
I was...
What is the local...
Shadows.